You're listening to The FWAT Show, episode 280 for April 13th, 2016. Meanwhile, in North Carolina, this episode of The FWAT Show is being brought to you by Enclosed. Don't know what Enclosed is? I'll let you in on it. Guys, when was the last time you surprised your lady with something really different? Something that will make her as happy as flowers. But if we're honest about it, this is a bit more exciting. Try Enclosed. Enclosed is like a flower of the month, but instead, your lady is surprised with luxury panties. Yeah, I said panties. And these aren't your usual cotton numbers, but Enclosed sends high-end panties delivered in awesome packaging surrounded by rose petals. You pick how many months of these sexy panties she gets, and Enclosed customizes your gift, even giving you a 100% size guarantee, so you can't mess it up. So the next time you're looking to romance her, or need a Mother's Day gift, or an anniversary gift, or a date night gift, go to enclosedlingerie.com/FWAT. Enter the FWAT code, FWOT, at checkout and get $25 off a multi-month order. That's enclosedlingerie.com/FWAT. Are you ready for your 10-minute news burst? I'm your host, Rob Steele, and yes, this is still the FWAT Show. There's been a few changes this week. You might have already noticed one. Here's another one. Monday's show had a video version, which is available on the website, thefwatshow.com. And yes, there is a new logo. So there's a slightly new look, same great taste. And speaking of great taste, let's kick it off with Ann Coulter, who I think is almost the opposite of everything great taste is meant to be. Last week, Ann Coulter went on the Eric, and I'm going to mispronounce this, Metaxas show. How to pronounce that? I have no idea. Anyway, she went on the show talking about some of Donald Trump's habits. And Eric, because I can't pronounce his last name, said, what about his choice of doing adultery on a somewhat regular basis, it seems? Coulter said, you know where he met Marla Maples, referring to the GOP candidate's second wife? He met her in a church, so the adultery must have been sanctioned by God. Wow. I'm not exactly sure how you make that leap, and considering the whole 10 Commandments thing where, isn't number 8, thou shalt not commit adultery? So why exactly would it be sanctioned by God now if it wasn't sanctioned by God in the days of, Moses? I'm just asking. I don't have an actual answer for this. It just strikes me as extraordinarily odd. Something else that also strikes me as somewhat odd, and we're going to continue with the whole Donald Trump thing. Didn't his children receive a good education at some point? You'd think they would, considering how much money he has and how he says that it's an important thing, while I'm sure he will cut education for everyone else who doesn't actually have money. I digress. Guess who's not allowed to vote for Donald Trump, in the primaries at least? That would be Eric and Ivanka. Yes, those are two of Donald Trump's kids, because they didn't realize you have to register to vote. I'm not exactly sure how they missed that, considering everything about voting in the press these days, but there we go. Sorry, Dad, can't vote for you. And speaking of voting, and this actually answers a question from a few weeks ago, what was George W. Bush's wife's name? Apparently it was Laura. Sorry, I don't remember those things once they're gone. However, at the annual Women in the World Summit held in New York, Laura Bush said that she would actually prefer to vote for Hilary Clinton over any of the Republicans running right now. And she's a Bush. That's a hint, people. I have gotten a few emails where people have said things along the lines of, hey, Rob, you kind of skimped on the whole Panama Papers thing. Isn't that a bigger deal than what you're making it out to be? And my reaction to that is it? The whole concept behind it was rich people hid money to avoid paying taxes. That's been on TV in plot lines of shows since they invented television. So is this really news? No, it's confirmation of crap we already knew. Any questions? Good news for people who work at Wal-Mart. In Pennsylvania, anyway. The Supreme Court has declined to hear Walmart's appeal of a court case that's been going since 2006, where 187,000 workers, I'm guessing it's actually a bit more than that, we're just rounding it off. Anyway, 187,000 workers are finally going to get paid. The court case says that Walmart has been denying them lunch breaks and making them work through them for years. The court case means Walmart is about to lose $224 million. And by lose, I mean actually give it to the people who earned the money in the first place. The U.S. Army issued a statement recently where they said they are going to replace the phrase battle buddy with the more inclusive term warrior companion. Now, I have heard from several of my friends who are still in the Army and or work with the Army, and they have said that this is absurd. However, I think it's a good sign, because if they've come up with this fix to a problem, then this obviously means that they have fixed every other problem our Army has ever encountered. See? It's good news. 'Cause we need you in the Army. Fairly odd tech news. Ford has said they have developed a new light bar for the top of police cars. It will no longer actually be on top of the car. It will be inside the car, just under the windshield, in about the same place you would find the sun visor. While this does increase the aerodynamic capabilities of the car, is this really new? Because I remember seeing those on Torchwood when that came out in, 2006, 2007, which would make it 10 years ago. You know what? I've seen it in other shows before that. I just can't remember their names. But in other seemingly obsolete tech news, how is Microsoft's Windows 10 doing in terms of how many computers is it on? Well, it turns out Windows 10 is only on 14% of the computers on the planet. The number one reigning king is still Windows 7. Although I would like to point out that just behind Windows 10, the brand new one, is Windows XP at just under 11%. The reason given is a lot of corporations have things set up just so. Spectacular. That means they're going to be susceptible to all the viruses and malware because Windows XP hasn't had an update in, 3 years now? Job safety. Gotta love it. Meanwhile, in North Carolina, some very strange things are happening, all as a result of the whole bathroom bill thing. For example, if you happen to be an aroused North Carolinian and would like to find some imagery or videos on the internet that will help you get over your aroused state, website xhamster.com, who supplies such images, has blocked the entire state of North Carolina until the bill has been repealed. Okay, that's not really a big thing. It's a porn site. Come on. Who else has decided that North Carolina doesn't deserve their services? That would be Bruce Springsteen, who I frankly hadn't heard of in quite some time. He's doing a tour. He was supposed to do a couple shows in North Carolina, but says, hey, until you get rid of this law, I'm not coming. Similarly, Bryan Adams has said he's not going to Mississippi to do those concerts there until they get rid of their law. But then again, that's Mississippi, and Bryan Adams isn't dead? Who knew? But the strange thing about Springsteen canceling it, and I can't seem to wrap my head around this, Republican, gasp, United States Representative Mark Walker of North Carolina has said that Bruce Springsteen is a bully for not coming to North Carolina and doing his shows. He promised, man. He said he was coming to North Carolina, and he's being a bully just because we passed this law that allows bullying. Pot, this is kettle. Kettle, meet pot. Just don't smoke him. It's not legal in North Carolina. Interestingly enough, the website Dead State has been compiling some numbers that I found vastly interesting. Across the United States, the number of transgendered people who have assaulted anyone else in a bathroom totals 0. That would be none. Nobody. Zip, zilch, nada. Nothing. Conversely, the number of Republican politicians who have had same-sex assault allegations in public restrooms? 3. So maybe we should ban Republicans from bathrooms. Or at least, Republican politicians. But speaking of Bruce Springsteen and Bryan Adams, two big icons from the 80s, have you noticed a really odd trend in music that's coming out? Yes, it's the return of the 80s. In the past 6 months, give or take, we have seen new albums from Tears for Fears, Def Leppard, Duran Duran, Quiet Riot, Megadeth, Elton John, Anthrax. No, this list is not in any order. And this month, new albums we've seen from the Pet Shop Boys and Cheap Trick. No, not on the same album. Later this year, Cyndi Lauper, Bon Jovi, Enigma, Guns N' Roses, Metallica, U2, Nine Inch Nails, and Jesus Jones. Mind you, the last two are my personal favorites, but what do you think of this new trend of 80s artists coming back and playing instruments and showing today's new musicians, I put that in quotes, how to actually play instruments and make music? What a concept! If you like the idea, or disagree with me on that, or disagree with me if anything on the show, contact me through the website, thefwatshow.com. There's buttons for email and Twitter and Facebook. They're all at the top. They're all labeled. And if you can't find them, watch the video. It's on YouTube. I have arrows pointing to them. See, I make it easy for everybody, don't I? Don't forget to subscribe to the show on iTunes. Yes, there's a button for that too. And pass the show around to your friends. Let them in on everything that's going on in the world today, because it's pretty much all here, isn't it? Including a fairly unusual trend in the media. I think it's kind of disturbing, really. There was an article in People magazine, and thus in Time and USA Today, concerning Keith Hefner. Now, frankly, I had no idea who Keith Hefner was. Apparently, he was the brother of Playboy mogul Hugh Hefner, and Keith died this past week, and I would like to extend my condolences, but are celebrity relatives dying really news? Because if I'm honest, I barely care about the celebrities as it is, and my condolences do go on. But, really? I mean, news to the family, sure, kind of like word to your mother, but different. There has to be real news somewhere, but that's not it. Have a good rest of the week, everybody. I'll see you on Friday.